Good evening, I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC Evening News. And our top story tonight, a 49-year-old St. Philip man is the island's latest road fatality. Francis Henderson Lord was the passenger in a motor car when the driver lost control of the vehicle and collided with a lorry going in the opposite direction. Sharika Griffith was on the scene and she filed this report.
Lawmen say the accident, which claimed the life of 49-year-old Francis Henderson Lord of Seaview Park, Long Bay, St. Philip, occurred just before 8. He was a passenger in the white motor car driven by his girlfriend, 56-year-old Valdine Burton of Hannah's Valley, Christchurch. Burton reportedly lost control of the vehicle after rounding a bend, causing the car to slide across the road into the path of the lorry, driven by 49-year-old Ken Williams of Four Roads, St. Philip. Lord was pronounced dead on the scene, while his girlfriend, who complained for pain about the body, was taken to hospital by ambulance. The driver of the lorry did not sustain any physical injuries, but was traumatized by the accident. The incident has prompted police to issue a fresh appeal to road users.
This now brings our count of road fatalities to 6, which of course is a concern. We do not want to have those same numbers replicated as last year. So, we want to encourage persons to continue to exercise that high level of caution when they're using their roadways and the highways. Always take into consideration the condition of the roads and, your driving practice as you continue to drive on the road.
A resident who preferred to speak off camera says while this is the most serious accident to have occurred in the area, it is not unusual for drivers to lose control of their vehicles, oftentimes crashing into this shop.
It doesn't really have to fall that hard, just sprinkle, and anything coming up can slide, especially around the corner, it can slide.
The woman was also very critical of a man who reportedly recorded a video of the accident, supposedly for the purpose of sharing on social media.
Accident now happened, he with a cell phone, up in the mist, recording and videotaping, and I was like, you need to have remorse for the family, you cannot be doing this. So he can tell me, come and touch the phone, you don't know what you're doing. I said, common sense. It's quite obvious an accident now occurred. You with a cell phone recording and talking, stating the guy dead. I asked him, how you know the man died? Are you the police? Are you the ambulance? And he started to curse me and get home. 2 fire tenders and 8 fire officers under the command of Divisional Officer Errol Gaskin responded to the accident. The jaws of life had to be used to extract both Burton and the deceased from the vehicle. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
And a woman was taken to hospital after being struck by a car this afternoon. Police tell the CBC 63-year-old Margaret Corbin was crossing the main road at Upper Cullimer Rock, St. Michael, near KFC, when the accident occurred around 20 minutes past 2. The Britons Hill St. Michael resident suffered injuries to her head and neck. She was taken to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital by ambulance and police say her condition is stable. The car involved in the accident was driven by 37-year-old Aisha Lockhart, who was visibly shaken afterwards. Several residents from the area and other people gathered at the scene as lawmen carried out their investigations. Police also cordoned off the road and traffic was diverted for about 2 hours before it was reopened. The Barbados Fire Service is seeing the benefits of upgrades to its equipment. That's according to Divisional Officer Errol Gaskin. He was speaking on the sidelines of the country's most recent fatal car crash, which claimed the life of 49-year-old Francis Lord. Both Lord and the driver of the vehicle, 56-year-old Valdine Burton, had to be extracted from the car.
We have bought a changeover our rescue equipment, what people know as the jaws of life, but it is technically known as hydraulic rescue equipment. The department has changed out most of its equipment into a more technical version. It is less cumbersome to deal with and it is more efficient. It does increase the speed and dexterity of the officers on the scene. As in this case, we had to do multiple rescue techniques in order to free the victims.
In other news now, it seems that the flying fish have returned home just in time for Easter. The Bridgetown Fisheries Complex was a hive of activity yesterday as thousands of fish were offloaded from fishing boats. Many of the fisherfolk are happy to see the fish returning after being away for some time.
I'm feeling happy because the flying fish was very expensive for a very long time, up to last week. And as I came this morning, there was a big drop of probably about $90 less from the previous weeks.
This boat got about 20,000. Yes, I had about 3 or 4, about 4 to 5 more boats. I got about the same amount.
And as news spread about the abundance of fish in the market, Barbadians turned out in their numbers to get their favorites.
I come to buy some of the flying fish, and I think that for a long time they were expensive, and I trying to catch this opportunity.
But I'm thankful to God that we are getting flying fish at this moment, right? And I believe in all of this, the Lord is teaching us something. I remember when flying fish were so plentiful.
Well, the Barbados Red Cross Society is the latest beneficiary of the generosity of the Chinese government, receiving 3 generators today at the Society's headquarters in Warrens. The generators, valued at over 20,000 Barbados dollars, were presented to the Society's president, Winston Waith, by Chinese Ambassador Zhan Shuisheng. The ambassador said the world constantly suffers from natural, man-made and public health disasters, and their contribution is part of China's bigger role of playing its part in making new and greater contributions to mankind.
Has been actively participating in global humanitarian aid and gained tremendous experience from it. The Chinese embassy stands ready to act as a bridge for the cooperation between the Red Cross societies of China and Barbados, and make contributions to China-Barbados friendly cooperation, especially in the field of humanitarian aid, so as to promote the welfare of our 2 countries.
Barbados Red Cross Society President Winston Waith described the gift as valuable and welcomed.
We'll be challenging our volunteers to more outdoor events, and having generators, it now allows us to have events in the open air rather than having to do all things in a building. Our Zika program, where we have cleanup and that type of thing, it would allow us to use heavier equipment that need electrical supply. The generators would come in to support those as we carry out our services.
Meanwhile, the Society was able to raise over 250,000 Barbados dollars to assist those nations in the region that were badly ravaged by hurricanes last year. And with the 2018 hurricane season predicted to be more active than 2017, the Society has been preparing from very early.
We are in the process of getting our inventory list, and we would be trying to bring our stock back up to the level in preparation for this hurricane season, which is very quickly approaching. As you know, the season starts in June and we are already in March, so we are looking to have our stock back up in preparation for if another devastation this year. I mean, predictions is that we expecting quite a number of named hurricanes this year, and we are hoping that that wouldn't happen, but we want to be prepared in the event that it happens.
Meanwhile, Mr. Waith says the Society's Meals on Wheels program needs more funding. Revealing it serves about 150 people, he stressed the need for more monetary donors.
We are looking for more financial contribution. We are looking for more people to support that. The program in itself is a financial loss to the National Society, but that is our contribution to help those people in need. So when we go out with our appeals, we are hoping that more people can support our appeals to assist as we try to assist those persons in need.
In a matter of days, South Coast streets should be free from sewage. That is, if the Barbados Water Authority's dye testing on the 4 proposed injection wells for the diversion of South Coast sewage comes back positive. According to the BWA's water quality technologist Alex Eiffel, the dye testing will determine if the well field located in the South Coast sewage plant will present any health or environmental challenges. They've been taking samples since Saturday.
Wednesday, the 7th of March, is the last set of samples that we will be taking to Ozark laboratories in Missouri, because although we might not see the dye, we still want to make sure that the dye has not even come through in minute quantities.
The injection wells are part of a temporary solution and part of government's overall $12 million solution to the problem. Mr. Eiffel says the results from the testing should be back in 24 to 48 hours, after which it will be good news for the South Coast.
Once we have a good result coming back from Ozark that we can present to the environmental agencies, we can then go ahead and start to use those wells to divert the sewage to those deep injection wells, pulling the sewage off the mains in the street, and therefore having a chance, once we lower those levels, that we can then go in and do significant repairs to the problem area.
A St. Joseph family is holding on to hope that their matriarch will be found. 66-year-old Gloria Mears of Cleavers Hill was last seen around 5 last Friday evening in the neighboring St. Elizabeth village. Several searches have been conducted by law enforcement personnel, family, friends, churches and concerned citizens for the mother of 4. One of her sons, Herman Mears, says he's hopeful that his mother, who is diabetic and has Alzheimer's, will be found safe.
The boy that knows she whereabouts, contact me, or if you see the numbers on the posters, contact me at 826-4425. My phone always on, never off, and I'll be just waiting. That was a lady that they say looked just like her in the Christchurch area, but it wasn't her. Because we went looking and thing, and the people that they say it wasn't her. The lady that looked just like her, but it wasn't her. So that was another dead end. But I still keep in hope, because you know, just still believe that she's alive.
We'll take a break here and come back with more news. Stay with us. The Barbados Nurses Association is pleased with the development in the health sector over the years. President Joanna Waterman says expanding community mental health and decentralizing services like dialysis and HIV treatment are all key to continuously improving the sector. She says, however, these and other factors like the growing older population and the increasing number of people with chronic non-communicable diseases are placing a much heavier burden on the nursing community. According to Ms. Waterman, part of the problem is an old system which speaks to nursing quotas.
That quota speaks to a very distant and previous era in which the numbers and the expansions and the additional healthcare services were not existing. So hence we come back to the fact that we cannot use the old quotas of a distant past to have delivery of healthcare services and nursing personnel efficient practices in this modern day age in which the whole environment has changed.
Ms. Waterman says the Nurses Association is preparing to review its strategic plan to get a clearer picture of the numbers required for the various institutions.
It is a case of looking at where the needs, specific needs lie, and it's not in general nursing, but it's the specialty areas for gerontology, which I said because of the current demographics now of the increasing elderly with chronic non-communicable disease, we need to look at the increasing numbers for their special training for those nurses who would have the skills required to care for persons who are elderly, who have special needs. We also would need to look at the area of public health, where we've had the expansions and what is required therefore in terms of numbers to cater to all those changes that have gone on.
Apart from teaching entrepreneurship, the Aline School is also allowing students to develop their management skills in a real-world setting. At the St. Andrew's School, students are encouraged to balance their studies as they operate their own businesses. Rianne Phillips has more.
At present, just over 20 students of the Allen School have founded and managed their own businesses. Principal Julia Beckles wants to increase the number to 60 within the next year.
We want to move towards having every single business student at the start of their academic career in business begin by having a business. So that when you're learning to do a business plan, you actually have a business that business plan is tied to.
As young bosses, their school gives them the opportunity to market their products.
Last term, we provided for our entrepreneurs here an avenue whereby they could exhibit their creativity. We had what was called a student fair, and all of the students in the school who are involved in making products were invited to display their products. They had their business cards, they actually had their price lists, and they even made a little money because students, not only did the students come in and watch and look to see what they had exhibiting, but they were encouraged also to purchase.
16-year-old Kiara Fort has formed her own makeup business called Expressing.glam. She's been working for over a year, enhancing faces for several events, including crop over.
I also have my own cosmetics line, selling glitters and eyeshadow primer and different types of glitters and body stuff. So that's basically what I showcase, along with doing a live demonstration of makeup.
As a brave student, she willingly displayed her skills for our crew. Meanwhile, when 18-year-old Atrice Joseph takes to cloth, her labor appears to have a magic touch. As a self-taught seamstress, she makes uniforms, dresses, and other items.
From the time I was like 5 or so, my mom always liked sewing, but she wasn't a professional seamstress. She just used to like to dabble and stuff like that. So she bought her own machine when I was about 11, and every time I would be home, every time she left and I was home alone, I would go and use it behind her back. And yeah, but she ended up noticing because I damaged something on it, so she realized I used it behind her back. So she was upset with me at first, but then she actually watched me use it, and she said it wasn't bad. So she decided to get me my own machine and allow me to dabble on it and learn stuff for myself. I made mistakes and did it different ways in order to get it correct.
She made this dress in a couple of hours to win an African Day competition at the school. Both of these students plan to further their studies after leaving school. Rianne Phillips, Cbc News.
Very good stuff from those students. Thanks, Rianne. A local business, Williams Industries, has been praised by students of the Allen School for sponsoring their track and field. Students received the new uniforms yesterday during a special presentation. Head boy and athlete Akil Howell says the gear has improved the spirit of the squad and will inspire them to work even harder.
Uniforms, we feel well represented, and the spectators will know who we actually are, just a school in the East Coast, and they will actually see our true colors coming out to represent our school. So we expect that we will have a good time, and also we will be recommended for other events such as Carifta Games and CUT and other games like that.
In Guyana, Public Security Minister Kemraj Ranjatan has been speaking to members of the public, but we'll tell you more about that after this break when we take a look at news from the region. Stay with us. We begin our regional roundup in St. Lucia, where emotional loved ones of 2 Vieux Fort fishermen missing at sea are holding out hope for their safe return. The 2 men ventured out of port last Thursday and have not been seen or heard from since. We get more in this report from HTS News Force.
Jermaine Edwards and Mervyn Gilbert left the Vieux Fort fishing pond as normal on the morning of Thursday, March 1st, on board their fishing pirogue. The 2 had apparently set off on a fishing expedition. However, according to 33-year-old Edward's girlfriend, Leah Mingo, who is carrying his child, when the 2 men failed to return at dusk, she went into a state of panic. She informed 2 of his friends, who embarked on a search by the pond.
As soon as I don't know what I'm doing, I went down and I find it was like, in all unusual that he did not come in. I asked everybody and nobody knew his whereabouts. Although I expecting in a few weeks, like 3-4 weeks time, I will be giving birth to our baby, and see that he's not there for support. Knowing that he's the breadwinner of the house and thing, I have 4 children. Still that I'm not from here, I don't know how I'm going to make it. Having a 77-year-old grandmother on my account. I really don't know what it is, what it will be. You know, so I was praying that God will rescue him and bring him back home for us.
Edward's companion, Mervyn Gilbert, is a father of a 13-year-old girl and 7-month-old baby boy. His girlfriend, Vereen Joseph, says she stayed at the VA4 Fisherman's Pond until 2 a.m. the next day, awaiting the two fishermen's return, to no avail.
For the 5 days now, everybody who comes to me wants a report and stuff, and it's breaking me down. So I'm trying to be strong. I'm trying to be strong for the little one. But I'm hoping that a vessel passes and find them, or somebody passes and find them and bring them back safely, especially for the one who's with my boyfriend, whose girlfriend is pregnant and almost on her last days to giving birth.
Weather advisories over the past few days have warned seafarers to proceed with caution, as the waters surrounding the island have been choppy of late. While it is not clear whether the two fishermen possessed safety gear and communication devices, both the Department of Fisheries and Police Marine Unit have constantly warned fishers not to venture out without items like life jackets, flashlights, flares, and more importantly, CB radios.
The ruling Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party, or ABLP, is the only party contesting all 17 seats at stake in the March 21st general election. The ABLP, led by Prime Minister Gaston Brown, will contest the 17 seats on Antigua and Barbuda, while the main opposition, United Progressive Party, will contest 16 seats. There's only one independent candidate among the 53 people nominated yesterday. In the 2014 general election, the ABLP won by a landslide, taking 14 of the seats, with the remainder going to the UPP. The lone independent candidate is attorney Ralph Francis, while the newly formed Democratic National Alliance, headed by former UPP legislator Joanne Messiah, will contest 13 seats. 3 teenagers have been charged with the murder of 17-year-old Bermudan Lyrico Steed, who was stabbed to death last month. The 3, Kisharon Campbell, who is 19, and 2 17-year-olds who cannot be named for legal reasons, appeared in court yesterday and are expected to go on trial on October 2nd. The 3 are charged with stabbing Steed in Bulwell on the outskirts of East Midlands City on February 13th. Steed died in hospital 6 days later. A 17-year-old girl, who also cannot be named, has been charged with assisting an offender and is expected to appear at Nottingham Youth Court on April 3rd. Australian-born Kim Young, who was a member of the now-defunct United Bermuda Party, or UBP's, final cabinet, has died at the age of 75. Young, a nurse and human rights activist, passed away in the Bahamas on Sunday after suffering a severe stroke while in hospital with a fractured spine. Her son, Jonathan, said his mother's life was defined by love, dignity, compassion, generosity, and laughter. Young was MP for Paget East from 1997 until her political retirement at the general election in July 2003. The Chinese-owned Guyana Manganese Incorporated, or GMI, says it will employ more than 500 Guyanese workers as it prepares to begin construction in July. GMI, a Bosai Mineral Group company, says it is on track to develop the mines, plant and factories to begin extracting the mineral by early 2019, since acquiring the area from Reunion Manganese Inc. of Canada. Now, GMI is investing $100 million in their first phase development. Assistant General Manager of Bosai's Overseas Department, Steve Ma, said that construction is set to begin in July, and an estimated 550 locals from across the region and Guyana will be employed during the production phases. Ma said that during the construction phase, the mine ore processing plant, washing plant, warehouses and factory will be established. He said the company is currently procuring equipment and that it is also facing logistical challenges in terms of moving the ore from plant to sale. We'll give you a glimpse into the world of sports in a few moments, but before we get to that, here is a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
This tip of the day is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance Company Limited. Insurance the way you want it to be.
Anti-doping rule violations number 6. Doping is defined as the possession of a banned substance and/or method. This fact is brought to you compliments the National Anti-Doping Commission.